You like, get
Oh,
it.
wait.
recording access. Just let me know if you don't. Please use the raise hand button if you have questions. With that said, if someone wants to start us off with the first question, the floor is open.
Phil, I'll take the first one. In terms of Kyler Murray, obviously there are a lot of mobile quarterbacks. That's the big thing in today's NFL. But how is he different from the others? Is it his actual passing ability while running because he's more accurate? Is it because of his size? What's the difference between him and the others?
Well, he's got the combination of he's got exceptional movement, and I'm not just talking that he's fast. I'm talking about movement in the pocket. I think, we played against him in college when I coached in college, and he wanted to really take off and run with it. Now he's a passer when he moves. So he's got exceptional movement, makes guys miss. So that's one thing that's really unique about him. It's hard to even touch him at times with a four-man rush because of his movement. With that said, he's also got a great arm. He has the ability to throw the ball. Any throw that he needs to throw at quarterback, he can throw. So. And, he's been around football his whole life in sports, so he's really intelligent, too. So, he's got a combination of, I think, everything. The only thing he doesn't have is height. But because of his movement, he gets himself in windows where he can see and make all the throws. So, he's tough to defend. They're 8-1 and playing really well on offense.
All right, I don't see any other hands raised. If you guys want to unmute yourself and ask some questions, the floor's open.
I got one. Hey, Phil. Sorry I jumped on here late. So hopefully you didn't address this. You've always got some good perspective, having been around. Wondered what your background with Cam had been previously at college or when you were at Detroit or at any level.
Well, unfortunately, in college, it was not good. They killed us. He had an exceptional year the year he played when we played against him his senior year. But, he's just really a good football player, and he's been a good, he's a great athlete. And but he can also play quarterback. And so, when he came out, everybody's worried about his size and stuff. And, playing against him in college, he gets himself into windows that other players can't with his feet. And so, he can make all the throws and they're doing a great job with him. I think he's getting better. From a year ago, I think he's a lot better quarterback today. So, it's been fun to watch his development.
What was your game plan against him in, I guess would have been 2010?
In college?
Yeah, that year you said he had the great game. What were you trying to do to defend him?
Well, they had so many weapons at Oklahoma that it was a joke. It wasn't just him. They had pro players at every position on offense. So, they had a great offensive line, the running back, the tight end, wideouts. It was, with him at quarterback, it was almost impossible to defend him. So, not only did we have problems, but a lot of other people did too.
Does you have any more questions for Coach Snow?
Easy day today, guys.
Hey, I'll jump in again, Phil. I'm sorry. I'm calling from the car. You were just describing Kyler, right?
Yes.
I wondered if you had any background with Cam. I'm sorry,
Oh.
I probably didn't enunciate well.
No, shoot, I might not have heard it right. No, not really. Not really been around Cam or had to defend him. So no, I have not.
Did you get a chance to meet him yesterday and just sort of wondered, kind of first impression?
Well, we were around him for 2 months when we first got here. And I enjoyed him. He was fun to be around and was in the office all the time and really personable. So, my experience with Cam's been good.
Did they ask you yet, Phil, about Burns and his availability and then also the play with Mac?
Well, we'll see with Burns when it comes to game time. I think that decision will go all the way up to game time. And who was the other one you asked?
Just wondered, your teammates and Brian or Brian's teammates have all come out pretty strong about Mac Jones' play against Burns. Are you in that same camp?
This is a competitive game, and I don't know Matt. We had him in the Senior Bowl, and but did he try to do that on purpose? I don't know any of that. I'm going to not even. But he is competitive, and so is Brian, and so that's the great thing about this league is how competitive everybody is, and it's fun to be around them. And so that's just competitive banter. I think what happened between those two, and I think as Matt develops in his career, Brian will have a lot of respect for him. So they're both really good players, and they'll probably become friends at one point in this business.
All right, are that all the questions we have for Coach Snow? All right, Coach, we appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
People ask questions as possible. With that said, Joe, do you want to start us off?
Ready to rock?
Yeah, thanks, Preston. Hey, Joe, good to see you.
Good to see you.
I'll ask the obvious. Just your background with Cam prior to now, and what kind of what you envision with him in this offense.
Yeah, obviously got to know Cam, when we got the job here and got to spend a lot of time with him, and obviously the player that he's been for a lot of years at this organization, and so excited to be able to work with him, get to really work with him again. We talked a little bit before, and had a great conversation with him last night, and we'll as the weeks go on, we'll be able to kind of get a vision and expand on the package and go from there. But right now, he's in the process of just picking up and learning, what we do and how we call things, and and then everything will kind of take care of itself going from there.
And then my one follow-up is that there was a lot of talk about sort of his mechanics post-shoulder surgery. Wondered if you've studied those and if you have some ideas about working with him mechanically.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously, stuff that, everybody always, you hope that you work with and improve on, and I'm excited to be able to get with him out on the practice field and, kind of just see where he's at. And, I'm sure that there's been growth from his standpoint, and I'm excited to be able to work with it and, without getting into specifics.
All right, let's go to Mike Solarte.
Hey, Joe, how you doing?
What's up, Mike?
Obviously Cam coming in is a dynamic that will be applied probably next week. I don't know if there's a plan for him at all for this week, but has there been a noticeable lift in the guys with his arrival? And I mean, not necessarily something you see on the field, but just in terms of attitude and emotion and body language, that sort of thing.
I'm sure there is. Naturally, when I think some of the news and stuff broke yesterday, we had already finished practicing, we're in meetings and whatnot, but you feel his presence, at all times, when he just walks in a room, and that's something that everybody's kind of known here for years. And so, it hasn't been anything where, everyone's, you're hearing it, they're talking about it, but you just know, you feel his presence. And, I'm excited to be able to work with him, and, excited to, see him on the football field.
And if I could just follow up with your offensive line for this week, I've lost track of how many different starting combinations you guys have gone through, but now with Matt and Cameron not being available, Matt for the rest of the year, Cam at least the next three. I mean, how tough of a task is it to try to scheme up when the personnel is changing on that group, in that position group?
Mike, it is tough. Especially at the O-line room. just O-line positions and football in general, the continuity and just being able to play with each other. And, you get your right guard with your right tackle, understanding calls and how they set and, combination blocks. There's a lot of stuff to that. And the fortunate reality. And we said it, going into the season, we made sure in training camp that we moved guys around at times, just knowing that, 17-game season, the odds of having the same 5 the whole time, wasn't a high probability. But there has been a lot of change from that standpoint, and it is tough. But at the end of the day, these guys are professionals. It's our job to try to put them in positions to have success and for them to execute. And whatever 5 ever goes out on the football field. And even last week, after the second play, Tech going in playing center, it's my job to have confidence in them, and I have confidence in them. And just with the work ethic that they put in, and whoever the 5 that are out there, I believe that they're going to be able to get the job done.
Go to David Newton.
Hey, sorry, Joe. I'm actually driving my car. So I
Safe.
was curious, how many plays do you anticipate having ready for Cam to potentially play on Sunday? And how long did y'all stay at the stadium working with him last night?
Look, we're, I think that's all stuff that's, everything's on the table right now, and we'll kind of just evaluate from a day-to-day standpoint and without getting into specifics, and we'll just kind of see what today brings and, kind of how things progress, and just be ready to rock on Sunday, and we'll just kind of see how things go.
And how much you plan to when he actually plays, to cater the offense around what he does with the read option, and how much experience do you have with the read option?
I think a lot of that stuff, will obviously come into play, and we'll evaluate those things, as it comes. But, right now my focus is, strictly on the Arizona Cardinals. We got a huge task ahead of us this week. And so a lot of those things, a lot of those thoughts will slowly start creeping in your mind, and you got to obviously be ready for them, but right now, just focusing on the game plan right now and getting ready for Sunday.
Thank you.
All right, let's go to Brett Jensen.
Hey, Joe, in terms of running quarterbacks, I know that PJ is mobile, and I know that, at LSU, Burrow was a little bit mobile as well, but nothing to the extent of like Cam Newton. Have you ever been around mobile quarterbacks like a Cam Newton or a Lamar Jackson, something like that can just really, really run? And do you have to tweak your offense much to deal with that?
Well, I don't think there's anybody that's, there's only a few guys in the game that have been able to have the success that those guys have had running, throwing. There's never been another Cam Newton, another Lamar Jackson, some of those guys. I mean, they're as elite as it gets. So unless I'm coaching them, I definitely don't have that experience. But I know, I think you have to just figure out what the guys do well, and understand, the toll that it can have on their bodies potentially running, and, what schemes and how they, see things with their eyes if they are running. But I think that's part of growing in the relationship and understanding the communication and where things are. But obviously, you guys all know how big he is, and how dynamic he is with the ball in his hands, both running it and throwing it. And so, I'm excited to be able to work with him, and we'll figure out, how the best way is to utilize him, as the season goes.
Or were you licking your chops a little bit, considering all the different possibilities you might be able to do with him that you haven't maybe been able to do otherwise?
But to be honest with you, it's been a unique week from that standpoint, because my focus right now, is, trying to beat the Arizona Cardinals, an 8-1 football team, with one of the best defenses in football. And so, obviously exciting news to be able to, get Cam and be able to, improve our football team. At the same time, my focus has to be on getting this offense and getting PJ Walker ready to perform this weekend. And so, it's been a unique week. It's been an exciting week, and I'm excited for Sunday.
Let's go to Ellis Williams next.
Hey, Joe, I'm wondering, how does the addition of someone like Cam Newton, injecting him into your offense, change the way you potentially call a game, change the way you're teaching your offense, and just alter your offensive unit as a whole?
Without getting the specifics of it, I think, you're going to have to kind of figure it out, as things go. It's different when you make an acquisition, maybe in the OTAs or right before training camp or whatnot. Sometimes when you do things in season, there's a little bit of give and take in terms of, hey, a lot of our guys know this, hey, but you can do this, so it'll be a healthy blend. The core of what we do will be what we do. And, it'll be exciting whenever he is in there to see him kind of take a hold of, what he can do well and make the most of it. And like I said, just like any relationship with a quarterback and offensive coordinator and offense, as games go, you grow and you understand, what each person can do and how each other thinks. And, so there's a lot of endless, possibilities. But, he's an extremely intelligent football player in person, so he'll be able to pick up this offense and be able to, kind of take it into his own and, put his stamp on it.
Okay, thank you.
I don't see any other hands raised. Do you guys have any more questions for Joe?
Yeah, I can jump in with one question.
Go ahead.
Ready to jump, waving at you so you can see me on the screen.
Yeah, I got you, my brother.
The getting off to a good start Sunday, and it's paramount every week, but with the ability that Arizona has with their offense being as dangerous as they are, I mean, I know you're on the offensive side of the ball, but how do you implore your guys? We got to be as sharp as possible each and every week, but especially this week.
Yeah, no, it's these guys are obviously dynamic offensively, and they're extremely dynamic defensively. They don't have really weaknesses to their football team, and so it's critical for us to stay on the football field. The more that we're on the football field, the less that to your point, their offense is on it. And that's a lot easier said than done. So it'll be critical for us to stay ahead of the chains. To be able to capitalize on third downs and take advantage of it. And so it's a huge task at us, and we're excited for the opportunity, and I'm excited to see PJ go in there and beat PJ Walker. And so no, yeah, it's one of those games. Obviously I can't focus a lot on what they're doing offensively. We got enough of a task on our hands. But our guys are excited for it, and I'm sure it'll be a great atmosphere in there, and it'll be a great football game.
Let's go to Jonathan Alexander. Jonathan, you're on mute right now.
Muted, my brother.
Oh, my bad. So I think Ellis kind of asked my question, but got cut out. But I wanted to ask, is it difficult, when you have to plan for different quarterbacks who have different styles in general, like either year to year or even week to week, like such? And if it is difficult, how do you adjust to that?
Yeah, no, it's a unique situation. I think back to, I remember the Detroit game last year when, it was, you didn't know if, which quarterback was going to be starting. You ended up having 3 call sheets, and just going through each guy and just preparing them all, because that's it's the exciting thing about the quarterback room is you have a bunch of different skill sets. And it's important that, depending on what quarterback is in there, you're utilizing their talents and what they do well. And so, there is definitely a difference, and it's definitely something that you might have certain plays that say, hey, this guy has more confidence in this play, or hey, this is more suited towards him. But at the end of the day, you can't just keep putting in a bunch of plays because the rest of the guys have to learn the stuff as well. So you got to find that happy medium and find ways for each quarterback to be able to have success, but our guys be able to execute as well.
All right, get a couple more in here. So let's go to David Newton and then Brett Jensen.
Yeah, Joe, I'm just curious. I mean, even before the shoulder, Sam had struggled for much of the time for about 4 or 5 weeks. What do you see as his future at Carolina?
That's something that's, that I don't really spend a lot of time thinking about. I'm focused on this week, and, I'm focused on Sam getting healthy again and going from there. I know right now the biggest thing for him is getting his shoulder back and be ready to rock whenever his time comes again. And right now just focusing on the Arizona Cardinals. I know Sam's in a good place of mind right now. He knows what he has to get done, get his shoulder right, and we'll kind of go from there.
Joe, I want to go back to what Mike Solarte asked you near the very beginning about the offensive line. I know the big stories the last year and a half has been about the absence of Christian McCaffrey, but maybe lost in that is the fact that you had no continuity with the offensive line last year or this year with all these injuries. Is that in some ways maybe even more difficult to deal with than the loss of a star player, just because you never have the same people at the same position continuously?
I think everything is, ideal world is you always have your best 11 at all times, but you can't spend a lot of time with it. Football goes on. We learned that last year, and you can't make excuses for anything, and you can't let others make excuses for you. So the reality of it is, whoever are out there, whether it's the 5 backup linemen that you went in the season with, whether it's without Christian McCaffrey, you got to find a way to get the job done. And, if you spend a lot of time trying to figure out, there's no woe is me, I have a job to do, and regardless who's out there, I got to find a way to get the job done. And so, obviously a lot of things play into factor of that. You want to have all the offense line up, and, but you got to have confidence, and you got to trust your personnel department, your coaches to bring in the guys, and your coaches to be able to develop them, and so that, whoever's out there is going to be able to have success.
All right, guys, that's going to do it. Joe, we appreciate it.
Appreciate you guys.